Hello, and welcome back to Drippy Drez's channel. In celebration of the new Shrek trailer, I am going to talk about my new ranking of the Shrek movies. But before I do that, I am going to talk about my reaction to the Shrek 5 trailer, as well as what can be done in order to ensure that Shrek 5 is good. So, the obvious solution would be to post ideas for the story on social media. However, there's one problem. Due to early exposure to Shrek 2, a lot of people tend to over exaggerate when they talk, and they don't always know that there is a time and a place for everything, and certain conversations just aren't really conversations in which you should over exaggerate about. And when you're talking to a studio executive or a producer about an idea for a movie, or if you're writing a review for a movie, it's not really a time to over exaggerate, because those studio executives, those producers, those people who read your reviews, they don't have to empathize with you, and they don't have to coddle you, they don't have to nurture you, they don't have to think, oh, but when he says this, he means this, or oh, when she says that, she means that. No, if they read something that you wrote, if they're gonna listen to your idea for a movie, they can take it however they want, and if you don't specify certain things, they can interpret that however they so choose to interpret that. So if you want your idea for a movie to get made, you have to say that you want that specific idea for a movie to get made. Because if you're just saying that, hoping that it's going to lead to something else, or if you're just like saying that, but what you really mean is this, the people who can actually make your ideas aren't going to know about it, okay? And the reason I know is because a while ago, somebody did a video on how to fix Shrek the Third, and look at where that's getting us with Shrek 5. I can guarantee that if that person didn't over exaggerate when they talked, we wouldn't even be having this problem with Shrek 5 right now. We probably would have gotten a remake of Shrek the Third called Shrek 3, and it actually would have been the sequel to Shrek 2 that people wanted. So please, if you're going to post about your ideas on social media, that's great. Remember to say your ideas, how a studio executive needs to hear them in order for your ideas to get made. Thank you. Without further ado, let's get started on my rankings. So, starting with my previous video, I am always going to do my movie rankings from worst to best, and starting with this video, I'm always going to say the exact title of the movie. So, up first, at the bottom is Shrek. I think that this one is easily the worst. I used to think that it was this toxic movie because it glamorized Donkey not being overly defensive and sticking out his friendship with Shrek, and then Shrek complaining that everyone was judging him before they got to know him, but then he could have easily just said that he wasn't that bad and he wouldn't have had any problems. But I now realize that that's not really toxic, because even if you don't like that type of humor, you already know that it's supposed to be funny, so it's kind of hard to be negatively affected by it. The reason that this movie is toxic is partially because it tries too hard to be funny, but more so because it's a spoof of Disney, yet it has that scene that makes fun of the Matrix. It provokes the lesson that if you're in one situation, you're supposed to treat it the same way you would as if you were in a different situation. That is probably one of the worst things you can teach someone, because treating a situation as if you're in a different one isn't going to change the situation for the better. It's going to make it worse. In order to get out of a situation, you need to treat that situation as if you're in that situation. Otherwise, you're not going to fix the situation. So, Shrek is easily the worst. Up next is Shrek the Third. I do think that this one is a little bit better than Shrek because, yes, it is toxic in a way, but at least people know it's toxic because it comes after Shrek 2. Whereas, like with Shrek 1, it's a lot easier for someone to be influenced badly. And I actually think that Shrek the Third was a lot closer to being a good movie because a third Shrek movie actually could have been good given what Shrek 2 was like, but Shrek 1 was never supposed to be good. Third from the bottom is Puss in Boots. Yes, what happens in this movie is a lot cringier. Humpty Dumpty following Puss around his entire life is way cringier than anything that happens in Shrek or Shrek the Third. However, Humpty is portrayed as a villain, so it would be a lot harder for this movie to do more damage than Shrek's 1 and 3. I also do think that Puss in Boots was a lot closer to being a good movie than Shrek's 1 and 3 because realistically, if they axed the Humpty Dumpty storyline, it would have been either okay or pretty good. But if they axed that and changed the presentation of Kitty Softpaws and gave Puss a better backstory, this would have been a really good movie and either almost as good, or even better than Shrek 2. Right in the middle is Shrek Forever After. I actually don't think it's a bad movie. Really, the only problems I have with it are that it thinks it takes place in the same universe as Shrek 2 and the villain. Like, if they would have changed those two things, this actually would have been a movie that people need to see, given that It's a Wonderful Life came out, because It's a Wonderful Life does have a positive message, but in a way, it almost provokes the idea of dwelling on what could have been in order to appreciate the now when you don't have to dwell on what could have been in order to appreciate the now. So I think doing a spoof of that movie is a good way to hint at remembering what made the movie good and then its possible disadvantages. I'm sorry about that choppy audio just a second ago. That was a prank made by my microphone guy. In third place is Shrek the Halls. While not a necessary addition to the franchise, it does come close to being a worthy follow-up to Shrek 2. In second place is Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. My only problems with this movie were its presentation of Kitty Softpaws, as well as how it fails to line up with Shrek 2. And then in first place, at the top, is Shrek 2. I don't even need to explain why I think it's that great of a movie, it just is. However, I do think that there's the possibility that it should get banned. And the reason for that is because, let's face it, that movie did not have the impact on people that it should have, all because it came as a product of Shrek. And as much as I would love to think that as long as Shrek's 1 and 3 were banned, and as long as the name of Shrek 2 was changed to Shrek and it was given the PG-13 rating that it deserves, then nobody would have problems with it. That might not be the case. And I know what you're all thinking. Oh, well, what are you saying? Should Shrek 5 get banned? Like, why are you even doing this video if you're just gonna tell us that Shrek 5 should get banned? No. I think Shrek 5 should still get made. However, it shouldn't be called Shrek 5. It should be given a title that sounds like it would be its own movie. And it should work both as a standalone film and a follow-up to Shrek 2. And I think people should be given till its release date to decide whether or not we should keep Shrek 2 around, If people decide on yes, great, then Shreks 1 and 3 should get banned, and Shrek 2 should be given the changes that it needs to be given in order to be considered a great movie. But if even one person decides that they're always going to have a problem with Shrek 2, then I think that it should get banned. But on the same day that it's banned, a similar movie should come out with the same lessons as Shrek 2, and then we should all just move forward with our lives. I know what you're all thinking, whoa, well, is it really going to take that long to decide? Well, I mean, yeah, because it's going to take a while for this video to get out to everyone, and I think everyone deserves a chance to say whether or not they think that Shrek 2 should get banned. And, sorry for the abrupt change in tone. The person recording this keeps pranking me. So, what do you guys think the story of Shrek 5 should be like? Because as soon as this video is done premiering, I am going to check the comment section below. And seriously, and whatever the first idea is for the story of Shrek 5 is going to be what I do one of my next videos on. So if you want your idea for Shrek 5 to be featured in one of my next videos, then please leave that comment in the comment section below. I will keep talking for about another 30 seconds to a minute just to give people time to type. So my next video is going to be about movies that have successfully delivered positive messages. And then my video after that is going to be about movies that have failed to deliver positive messages, besides ones that I've already talked about, obviously. And then I'm also going to release a short. I'm not sure when yet, but seriously, it's going to be about a series that I think needs to get remade. Well, thank you all so much for watching. Feel free to hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already. Feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below, because even if your idea isn't going to be what I use for my next video, I'm sure I would still love to read about it. And I will talk to you next week, Friday.